What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, the band's back together. Mo's home from vacation, I'm home from vacation, and Johnny Fosco's fired up as always.
He got some triceps, too.
Yes.
Dude, I see him over there. Look.
Once again, I'm the guy that gets paid for fitness, and I'm the smallest dude on the panel.
Man.
It sucks.
I'm just trying to eat well over here. That's it. I got
You
some
are
ground
eating
turkey
well.
over there.
John is super domesticated at this point, Mo. I don't know if you noticed. He's got food. He's got
food?
silverware.
Hey, what about towels?
He does not have towels.
He doesn't have clean
I
towels.
took a
Let's give him
shower
that.
and dried myself with my sweatshirt. Max effort sweatshirt.
It happens.
Hey, there we go. Well, I see a pot. I see the pot.
Oh, it's amazing,
go.
but it hasn't been. I don't even go there. All right.
go.
Hey, it's brought to you by Square. Square has a great online source, online platform for the store. They really want you to know that they got everything that you need at square.com. I mean, a lot of people know Square for the reader, but they have other solutions for your business, John.
Yeah, I think they do, and I think it's important for people to know that they do a lot more than payment processing, right?
Yeah.
They have payment processing hardware. They do things like we talked about before. They give businesses lines of credit based on their receipts.
Which is so cool.
Which makes so much sense, right? If you have a relationship with somebody, why not borrow from them? And they are, in turn, providing businesses with capital that they can use.
Yeah, so if you're working on your e-commerce, go to the Square online store at square.com. Today we're going to talk about karma in business and life. Is that a thing? Everyone has, I think, some examples that they would like to talk about. It'll be interesting, huh?
You know what I just realized, and I'm guilty of this too.
What's that?
I think in the last, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, in the last year or two, is that a thing has become a statement.
Oh,
you
yeah.
realize that?
I don't know.
Like when we were younger, we never said, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Right? Recently, it's kind of like, is that a thing? And I realized, not you saying it, how fucking much I hate that. Because I think it's fucking...
Fuck off, John.
No, I just think it's fucking cheesy. Is that a thing? I don't know. I'm not saying you because I say it too.
Yeah, I've heard you say it, actually.
No. It's just our culture creeping. It's fucking stupid. But here's what's real. Karma.
It is
and
real.
I'm going to explain why.
Mo, you got some good examples to share, you think?
Yeah, I wanted to. When the conversation came up, I wanted to start talking about it. But I have some great examples that I think would be of value to the listener. I just really want to dig in on them.
Cool. Well, without further ado, I had to do it for, a few shows. But Mo, it's time for
original-
Fosco's
Yeah,
World.
Yes.
Wow.
So he might be about 8 feet right now.
Yes.
Right. And he has triceps. He didn't have those triceps when I came down here last time. Right.
Oh, the juice is
And
good in South
It's
Carolina.
90.
apple
No,
juice.
so look. I was about to say it. It's 90 degrees down here. Right. And so hailing from the Windy City.
Swole is all get out right now.
He's been at the gym, you can see. Swole is all get out right now. None other than Mr. Donnie Fosco. And I can't wait to hear what's going on. So bring you to the stage.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
And hold on. And I like the band that we have going on.
That's
back
the
here.
dude, okay? For all our Lebowski fans, that's the dude. That's Walter, and that's Donnie. If you haven't seen the movie,
So I haven't seen this. So
you have to.
You have to watch it.
I would
It's a
take
cult
that.
classic.
It's okay. So I just like that. I see these as figurines on the table,
Yeah.
but now they have a name behind them. So I'm going to go check them out.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
amazing.
Walter and Donnie. Okay, what I want to get into today is like what I've been, I think, dealing with. I don't know if it's conscious or it's with people or it's just something recent. But I think that when we as creators, as entrepreneurs, try to carry out a thought, a vision, a business, whatever, everything that we propose, even to ourselves, like mentally, before we propose it to other people, it's so unproven, and you have to almost battle yourself first before you let your words hit oxygen about an idea, because you're living in the space or you're thinking in a why not space, right? If you're trying to do or create something that isn't there, it's why not, and you have to be strong enough and be like a porcupine, because nobody understands why not. They understand what is, right? And what is not what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is a product of you saying, why the fuck can't I do that? Like, why can't I do that with my team, with my people? And why the fuck should I hesitate? Why should I question myself? I see it. People can convince me all day long. I don't see it. People can make comments that are sideways, that aren't direct to me, that make me feel like I don't see it. But I fucking see it. Like, and it's a constant battle with yourself where it's like, do I see it? I see it. Yeah. And then it's like, fuck everybody. Like, I see it and I'm willing to fall on my sword. But I think the unfortunate thing, and I don't want to be a woe is me type deal, is that when you're trying to do something that creates jobs, that creates interest, is just good for humanity, people are, and a lot of times it's the close people, they're your biggest objectors. They're the ones that make the road muddy. You know, they're the ones that cloud your thoughts. And, you know, when you think, why not? And you're ready to carry it out, and people pose questions to you that only plant seeds of doubt. It's like, fuck,
They always plant the seeds.
you
of
know,
doubt.
it's like what the fuck? And then I think, like, and this is for the listener, when you know you got it, that's when you kind of pull back and you're just like, fuck all these motherfuckers. It's about to go down. And if you're not on board, I'm going to remember you. And this isn't vindictive. It's internal motivation.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember you, and you. And come see me in a year. If you think I'm nothing now, if you think I'm stupid now, that's all fine and dandy. But as entrepreneurs, we have to battle that daily because nobody understands. And before them comes us. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on here is like, yeah, we all could be like super fucking hardcore with our mentality, but we're human, right? So when people who are smart or people who are close to us don't see what we see and question it, it has an effect on us.
Of course.
Naturally. So it's that daily reassurance of why not? The spirit of why not me? You know, that I really I would say in the past 2 months have realized that, like, bro, like I don't know anybody like me. Not to say that you guys aren't, but like, bro, like I just feel so good knowing that I need no support. Nothing can stop me. I'm not saying I'm infallible, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not gonna make mistakes, but that feeling, let's say even if a project is a failure, that feeling is something that can be a benefit in your life, even if you fail, because it's like, I took it on myself.
Yeah.
I looked it in the eye, and yeah, it didn't work out my way, but the strength was there. And I think a lot of people need that.
Well, no, I'll just say this. When you were talking, I just say that's the burden, I think, of anybody trying to accomplish something that's in their head. You know what I'm saying? And as you were talking about it, I thought I've identified with some of what you were talking about, where you may look at somebody and talk about what you're doing, and some may say it verbally, but then other things, be it in actions or behavior or how they're motivated to complete the project or do the project, you could just kind of like internalize on how they feel, and it kind of revs you up, like, you know, why don't you get this? But I think that you're repaid with joy too, to have the ability to. I think the success is in understanding where your energy needs to lie at, and follow me on this one, right? So, I think it's almost like sometimes we think like success is a destination. And I've been reading a book your mother told me about. The book is Being a Light by Marianne Williamson. I just scoot down by Marianne Williamson, and a lot of the book is talking less about a destination and more about understanding that your actions mean something. And from what you're talking about is that I'm in tune with what it is that I want to become or what I'm trying to accomplish, rather than just kind of like aimlessly attaching to something else that's like kind of out there just for the purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we'll ever get away from that. You know what I'm saying? But then I also believe, like, as they're talking about that, you're supposed to go through that because this is the conditioning process that's setting you up for something else. You know what I'm saying? Like I think every moment conditions us for the next thing that's coming. And going through this process, I think this is just like the training ground, so to speak, to get to the championship match and getting beat up and getting frustrated and getting through, just tough stuff. You know, y'all.
It's what gives you the calluses, man. I mean, that's part of it. I think along the way, I always ask those questions, John. I remember sitting in my trailer when I would have these like visions or dreams of doing these things, and I was just thinking, like, who is really stopping me? Why can't I do this? Who's saying who has said that, motherfucker, you can't do this? You know, and it's like, even when people would say sideways about the stuff that I had aspirations to do, when I would start to have that doubt creep in, that's exactly what I would ask myself. Why not me?
Right.
Who has really said, not you, dude?
Right.
No one.
But
no one was saying that to me.
But
I had to remind myself that, though.
Remind us 3 months ago when we start talking about these journeys of building something new. And so I've never seen John kind of like in this mental state. You know what I'm saying? Where I could just kind of see it on you, feel it on you. But it's like I'm in the game space in comparison to when you came back to Ohio for that period of time. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole different mentality. But I can identify because I'm right there with it. You know what I'm saying? Not exactly in the same space, but like the cleats on the field, game time. It's not the off season. You know, real short and to the point, directed, intense, but with a laser focus. You know what I'm saying? And you can hear it. You can hear the tone. You can hear but that's the process, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why it feels like even it was something right here as he was saying. As I said, man, that's exactly how I feel. But I don't think you get away from it. And I think anytime you're trying to undertake anything else, just think about, like, you already have something that's super successful going on, and then you're going to say, okay, let me start ground zero in another space, and let me lift this thing up that I really don't have to lift up because it really doesn't make a difference, whether I make a dime or, you know what I'm saying, or not.
Right.
And to the thinking in that, when most thinking is linear, when most people think of, you know, let me go build a career and just keep on taking gradual steps in the entrepreneurial thing is let me build something up, sell it, get it off, and then start all over again and pick something up from the ground up. That mentality is not widely understood.
No.
You feel I'm coming from? And so and then you're trying to create something that's not here in space.
Concept, brand new, different for both of us. Literally, John got parachuted in here, even though he lived here before. Boom. No relationships, brand new concept. I mean, but that's the challenge this guy lives for, though. And I enjoy.
You know, and in closing, it just it reaffirms everything that I've thought and I've believed, and I want the listener to take away. When you throw yourself out there and you know that you don't know the answer or every answer, and you believe that you will figure
it out.
That
is living.
Let me ask you one question. Would you have it another way, though?
No way. No fucking way.
And I only say that because you had it another way and it's turned into this to build something else. So I asked myself, like, do we yearn for it in a sick way?
Yes.
Money means nothing to me. I think, just personally speaking, money means nothing to me. So yeah, I can have it and I can have things. It means nothing to me. So it's like, okay, yeah, make money to. I want to be like, okay, that's a challenge. That's always a challenge. I want the bigger, tougher guy. I want to, and it's just to prove to myself. It's not to compete with anybody.
I was about to ask you,
for me.
Do the challenges put you more in a self-discovery space?
100%, because that's the only way I know how to uncover what I have yet to uncover.
That's where all the growth lies.
Yeah, I mean, like as I'm hearing it, like I'm just hearing I'm just trying to find like the fundamental stuff, because I'm asking questions, but I'm asking the questions to him that I ask myself.
Of course.
Because I fiend for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, hey, I may fail big, I may win big, but we're going to find out who you are this process.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Damn right. It's good stuff, man. Good
John.
combo. And I think it's time to make our way to Cory Gregory time.
Thank you, Fosco.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. That was good stuff, though.
Thank you,
for
man.
real. Great questions, Mo. It's really good to have you back from
A
vacation.
box of content.
No, you're like a treasure chest of content at this point, Mo.
A burlap bag of content.
All right, so we're gonna be in the football space today, Mo. I don't know if you're ready for this.
Okay.
All right, so check this out.
Spring ball.
So yeah, right. So my little man's collecting football cards, and actually one of the listeners from Business and Biceps and a guy from my site, Patrick Bagley, sent a big box of stuff to the gym, and one of them was a signed Rudy card from
Rudy
Notre
Rudiger.
Dame, right?
Yeah,
Rudy Rudiger.
Yeah.
So then we're down this whole rabbit hole of Rudy Rudiger because he asked about who he is, and I was like, man, there's a
gotta
movie.
film, yeah.
So I watched first. I've watched a movie, but it's been years ago. And I'm gonna challenge everybody to watch both of these because I got a crazy amount of inspiration from it. The first, I watched the documentary on him, that the stuff that was true and not true about the movie, because it was obviously Hollywood, right?
Oh, okay.
But he produced the movie too. Not produced it, but he funded the money for it. Dude, it's an amazing story. Like, I was blown away. So what? Yeah, right? Oh. So here, this is what I'm about to throw at you guys real quick. So not is Rudy the story that maybe you guys have both seen the movie?
I've
have
seen
you
the movie,
seen it?
multiple
Okay.
times.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But what's amazing about this guy is a lot of things that weren't in there that I learned in the documentary that's on Netflix. One, he went to, I don't know if he went to war or he went to something in the service for a couple years.
I didn't know
He
that.
came home, worked in the mill for a couple years, had terrible grades, went after his buddy died in the mill. He's like 22 at this point, all right, already, before he even starts his pursuit to go to Notre Dame. Most dudes is what, juniors in college at that point already?
Yeah.
Roughly?
You're probably senior. No,
Yeah, maybe a senior,
you're out
right?
of school at that point,
So he's at
probably.
22 before he even goes on this journey, right? So his friend dies. He drives that next night after the funeral to Notre Dame to talk to a priest and says, I want to go to Notre Dame. I'll do everything it takes. He's 5'9", 190 pounds. He's little as shit. And he's not that athletic. He's telling everybody all these crazy things that he believes in, right? And everybody thinks he's fucking crazy. Even the preacher says, you know, not everybody's meant to play football at Notre Dame or go there. And so he says he gets in the community college across the street and he gets like all B's. And this dude trying real hard. So, you know, every semester he tries to get into Notre Dame. For 2 years, he gets denied. 2 years. So now he's 24.
25, yeah.
Okay. But he's always on the campus. He's making relationships. He's making all these people think he's nuts. He works for the grounds crew at Notre Dame just to be in the field. He goes and barges his way into the office to tell the coach, I'm going to play football here. On the walk, at that point, you could walk on a lot easier than you can now. This is in the 70s. This is when Montana was the quarterback there, 74. So this dude, his brother, he's got 7 brothers and sisters. Every one of his brothers think he's a fucking joke. They all work at the steel mill. They're like, dude, you're fucking crazy, right? So after 2.5 years, he gets into the university and goes home, and his dad can't fucking believe it because his dad's telling him he's fucking crazy too. Then he tries out as a walk-on. He does all of these things to get on the field his senior year for 7 seconds. But it puts him in the logbook. He ends up getting a combined sack on the last play of the game. They carry him off the field. It's the first person. There's never been another person carried off the field since 1975. But what was crazy was he talked about every part of his life. He barged in everywhere. He didn't give a fuck, bro. He didn't care what that guy thought. He walked in. The coach said to him 4 years later, he goes, I can't believe I'm saying this. But he's like, dude, it was an unbelievable pleasure to have you on this team. And you will dress one game to be official. Mm-hmm. And it was like, even into then he says, somebody put the seed his senior year, said, this shit only happens in Hollywood, dude. And so he thought to himself, I think I'm gonna make a film about my movie one day, about a film about my life.
About my journey.
So then he goes on the next journey, getting a writer, getting the funding. Once again, he gets the male guy in Hollywood to take him to this dude's house and knocks on his door to write the film. And because the guy wrote Hoosiers. And he says, dude, I mean, this guy, I was blown away when I heard the real story, how fucking relentless. So you have to watch the documentary and then rewatch the movie after to appreciate it even more. But dude, to watch it with my family, the motivation is, dude, it was
The film was unbelievable.
The whole thing's unbelievable. So this dude tells him, he goes, I don't want to do another sports movie. But he said, you know what? I built a relationship with him. 3 years later, He calls me back and says, I want to do the movie. He went and got friends, family, funded it just like a business. It becomes a wild, successful hit. And he said, this isn't a movie about football. It's a movie about a love story that I want to be involved in the university. It's unbelievable. I was blown away, super inspired. My kids were excited, and it was just like one of those things. Like that's what sports can do for you, you know, which is amazing. So I just want to challenge everybody to watch it. There was some really, the relentless nature could apply to anything.
No, I'll tell you like this. I can even as we're talking, I could still feel like how I felt when I seen the movie, you know. And I think the movie is like the ultimate persevering small guy, get beat up, you know, get your ass kicked.
Dude's like 27 when he hits the field.
He was
Or 26. It's something ridiculous, Mel.
Yeah. But you know, like I don't even think it was a Notre Dame thing. I think Notre Dame was great because Notre Dame was like a hit in the 90s. I think they were like a monstrous university in regards to football.
Rocket Ishmael.
Yeah, Rocket Ishmael, yeah, 100%. And but to have, you know, just to have that story that it was all about perseverance, and then Charles Dutton was in it. Rock, remember?
Yep.
They used to have the TV show, and I just think the acting from him, and then the acting from whatever the guy that actually played
The dude from Goonies.
Yeah.
Sean
Feldman or something like that, or
not Feldman. Sean,
yeah, but I know we have a lot of younger listeners. I think it's just a good
like I just felt good after I watched it, and I got fucking pumped, dude. And like, you know, it's just like this dude just wouldn't take no for an answer.
No, but you remember when I talk about how I love the movies from the 80s and 90s?
Yeah,
like that's the stuff I love. Like the like just how it was shot, the purpose behind it, the motivation behind it, and the story is bigger than just football. It was it's tremendous.
The fact that he funded it himself.
Well, think about it like this, right? Like everyone listening, if they're not there yet, they want to be successful, and the thought of that is like a mountain to them.
Yeah.
If they do watch this movie, if they know this movie, the thought of this guy getting into Notre Dame, the thought of this guy getting on the field, and the thought of this guy getting a sack is like 4 million mountains. And,
yes.
and the lesson lies in that if you're listening to this and you hear what a guy like that did by simply never giving up, right? Like, why not, right? Why not me?
Literally.
Like, all you have to do is understand that kicking in the door is part of the process. And when you kick in the door, don't swing. You can come in with respect, right? But life is a process of kicking in doors. If you want to live the life you want, if you want to get the shit you want, bro, you got to kick in doors. And this dude is the ultimate door kicker. And he got to a place that, you know, I would beg to say not too many people, you know, maybe I can count on one hand in the next 100 years will ever do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like this, to hear he funded his own film, like I asked myself, like, is that smart business decision move, or is that like, I believe that my life has been I'm a rare breed sort of deal, and I want to like display this energy to the world. You know what I'm saying?
I think he knows that the story had a purpose to serve so many people.
And
they had all his brothers sitting there that all told him he was fucking crazy. Yeah. And now they're all wearing ND. They're all, you know, championing him.
That's the way success works.
And it's like they all put in money in the film. I mean, it's almost like eventually when you prove people wrong enough times, they finally quit questioning you.
I'll give you Matt Overton.
Yeah,
Matt Overton is my Rudy, my real life Rudy. And I was a guy, he's a 5, maybe 10, 11 long snapper.
Yeah, weighs maybe like 240.
Yeah,
he's not big.
Long snappers are like 6'5", you know, 260, 270. And I was the guy who was in the wintertime catching the snaps from him. And you have to imagine this is 2011, 12 when he got cut from the UFL, which is like a minor league team. And then he's, I remember YouTube and Facebook were brand new to me, and he's uploading videos and like, you know, putting them on there. I'm like, who the hell's gonna watch this shit? You know what I'm saying? And then for him to be now, this is what, 7, 8 years later in the NFL.
Yeah, he made 1 Pro Bowl.
Go to the Pro Bowl. And so like, I've seen like a real live Rudy story with my own 2 eyes, and to have that happen and like to kind of feel that energy in real life and in the movie.
Absolutely.
It definitely pays off.
So I got to challenge you guys to watch the documentary and the movie. Over the next few days. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It'll inspire you. So on to I'm not a football player. On a real life football player.
Yeah, no.
It's time for Maurice Claret's program.
Yeah. So we're going to throw a few people off the ship.
There we
go.
does your life?
We have technical difficulty.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're good.
Post production editing.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we
sure.
got it. Yeah. So the What Does Your Life Mean program, right?
That's a meaningful program.
Yeah. So What Does Your Life Mean program, and I'll kind of gather in my time period. So for the last few weeks, I've been on vacation of some sorts, and I was talking to John about the first time that it was very hard for me to get adjusted to vacation when I went on vacation for the first 3 days. And what I realized was that my daughter has been in so much of a hardcore routine, and my lady, she's been so much of a hardcore routine, helping her sister, helping her family, taking their kids to school and watching them. My daughter with school and play practice after and sports, and then myself with business. And during the first 3 days of vacation, we all were sort of like in our conditioned routines of doing what we normally do. She's talking to her friends, she's talking to her sister, and I'm kind of handling business. And it kind of took about 4 days for us to kind of get with each other and enjoy each other. And so we stayed in Florida for 7 days, and then we went to New York after that, New York and Connecticut, and kind of enjoyed each other up there. And that momentum kind of rolled. And through the process of that, I had more time to myself, and I would listen to a bunch of books, right? So when I got up in the morning, I'll go run or I'll exercise. I would put on a book, and it happened to be the book that your mother gave me. Your mother gave me the hard copy, but I ended up basically getting an audio book and kind of listening to it in comparison.
What's
to
it
that.
called, Bill?
It's called Being in Light by Marianne Williamson.
Okay.
And it's a lot of excerpts from her perspective, breaking down the Course in Miracles, right? And as I was sitting and just kind of like ingesting or digesting the information, a lot of her information, so to speak, just talks about what does your life mean, and getting out of the consumption of things and the consumption of your ego and the consumption of believing that everything is about you. And as you start to read this stuff, you start to ask yourself, like, how does my life fit into this stuff? You know, so how does my life fit into this current situation? And it's a bit rough when you have somebody describe something and, you know, you align with it, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, you kind of cringe. And then you cringe because, you know, this person has been able to say something very flawless, but it connects with you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, you know, am I just like this greedy asshole for money or for things or position or for power? And do I just purely like love people? You know, because she talks about the greatest gift or the greatest thing that we can do in the world is to just practice loving people no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of this stuff made me think about to your mother. You know, I'm pretty sure we can go in the archives, and if you talked about referencing your mother, I think like in that neighborhood you would describe your mother. You know what I'm saying? Just being like a less thingy, more loving type of person. Yeah. But I can kind of see how it happens. And
John
so,
always says she's the happiest person he knows ever.
Period.
Yeah.
I can see how she got there though. And if his mother was someone who would teach this information over a period of time, and it got to the point where I wasn't even connecting with music anymore throughout this whole trip, and even on a plane ride here, I straight up listened to all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I was just asking myself, like, you know, how do you practice on loving people? And it just talked about your life, like you giving to the world and you servicing other people, period. No strings attached, nothing more to it, you know, not to feed your ego, not to say, hey, I'm cussing this dude out because he disrespected me, you know, and being able to use every moment to give to the world, you know what I'm saying? And as the lady starts saying it to me, it was certain parts of me and myself that was just kind of like waking up like, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying? Do you really practice this? You know what I'm saying? And then you think about, you know, when you move on or you transition to another life, like, what does it really mean? We accumulate a bunch of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But who do we really affect? Like, you know, did we affect Jeremy? Did we affect Trey? And all the people we had a chance to influence? You know, how many people follow Max? You know, how many people follow me? How many people follow just whatever we do? You know what I'm saying? And making stuff less about yourself and more about other people you come across. And it was like hitting me in different ways than I had been hit before. And I was like, man, is this the maturation process? You know what I'm saying? Or was I like, you know, somebody give you something, like your mother gave me a book a while back and I just didn't do nothing with it. You know what I'm saying? And then I wonder, was I supposed to go on vacation and did you read it? Because now like your spirit can like digest it a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Cool. And I don't know, just I've been really there. You know what I'm saying?
I can see it on you, Mo.
Yeah, just I've been really there. Like less like, you know, you say something to me that would normally offend me. Like I have a choice with how I respond to it. Because like now, like instead of thinking about not having a confrontation, can I choose to love Cory in a situation that I would normally like just not, I would not like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And even on the plane today, she was talking about inside the book, instead of being less confrontational, be on the offensive and actively choose to love people no matter what goes on. You know what I'm saying? In the process, she said it's not enough to not hate people. Like, and she had broke down like, she's like, yeah, it's like, so she had broke down a situation with Hitler, and I want to make sure I speak slow on this because I don't want people to take things out of context. And she said everybody's guilty, not just Hitler, everybody who became accepting of what he did and how he did it. You know what I'm saying? And she said, you being able to not have the courage to have checks and balances disrupts your spirit and your spiritual development. You know what I'm saying? To know something is wrong and to not do something or to not speak upon it and to involve yourself in it, you're just as guilty. And so it just made me replay in my mind how much stuff that I just kind of like let pass and like ask yourself, like, what is my life really meaning aside from, what it is that I'm taking from the world, from business, you know what I'm saying? And it was just, I don't know, it was interesting, you know what I'm saying? In a rewarding way, the text that you sent me the other morning, from the guy who obviously was going through his personal deal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And being able to help him out, at 6 a.m. based on things I went through and experiences I went through, and being able to guide him to.
He got out of the hospital and he's back on his road to recovery again.
Back, and that just to the listener. I tell you, to the listener, if you hit me up at 6 a.m. till 5 a.m. the next morning.
He asked me if he could text you. I was like, you can text him.
Yeah,
He's up.
yeah. If you're having a situation, whether you got to be in a situation with drugs and alcohol, you always remain anonymous. But I'll always be there for you if it's serious. You know what I'm saying? But just situations like that. But I don't know. I just kind of threw it out there. But that was like the most in the last 3 weeks, the biggest thing that impacted me. You know what I'm saying? And I won't have it every day, but it's present and at the front of my mind and how I'm just moving through life. I just feel it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
That I think that's crucial, and it's something that I think being an alpha, being aggressive, being a male, being aware of it is one thing. And I've read and I'm aware of it, and I want to be able, I guess, to lead with love and care, and then like wanting to do it and then doing it is a huge challenge, because the thing that gets in the middle is your ego.
The whole book is about ego.
It's so powerful, and just when you think you figured it out, you will never figure it out. It will never go away. And like you said, like if Cory said something and I could get in a confrontation, like I got a book right there about Jesus that I'm reading right now, and it's a completely different take, non-biblical, and it's just about like, okay, well, I could put my hand on Cory's shoulder, smile, and just say, why don't we move on, as opposed to like
getting in
like I gotta light you up.
Yeah.
Like that's a choice, and then think about the domino effect of behaving that way.
Sure.
And think about your life and the quality of your life and your stress levels and how it connects to everything.
It's all about trying to manage all of those things.
Yeah, and just understand that there's more than this chase we're on, which I don't want to have this sound ironic because it's business and biceps.
Yes,
but it's true.
Well, because we all
keep talking.
Well, but here's the
Listen
thing
to me,
is,
bro, how you think I feel?
This type of material is what helps attempt to create balance in the sickness that all of us have, which is the chase of success in business. It's just what it is. It's inside of us.
But can the chase be different? Not different in a bad way. Can the chase be a little bit more? I don't want to say empathetic, because you can never.
The chase can be different.
Can the chase be a little bit more? I don't know, civil.
Here's the question to all of us. I think it can, if we could like say to ourselves, you'll never have more than $100,000 saved up. Like if you could say that to yourselves, accept it, because you're taking the time and the energy it takes to make all this other money, right? That would be much more than, and you're spending that time and energy to try every day to be better and to show people love. Like That takes time and energy, just like building a business does.
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to sacrifice that thought that we all have of being on this fucking egotistical mountaintop?
That's kind of to your mom's point, though, John. You always talk about she's the happiest person in the smallest apartment because the birds sing in this area, and that's what she's obviously been cool with.
Yeah, man.
But it's all that matters.
Yeah.
Look, man, listen to me. She said, man, when she said this, it hit me so hard. The only responsibility we have at the top of every day is to love another person.
Yeah.
Like when she said that, like that's it. That's the only exchange you can give somebody of value. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else they talk about is transfer. You know, if I give
Right.
somebody had this and they transferred it, this is all this stuff is deals. Just everything in here was a deal. The only thing that sticks with somebody is I gave you love, you felt it, you hold on to it, and something was transferred through there. And so all the people we have at our fingertips up under who put this thing in their ears and listen to it and rock with it and roll with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we having like the maximum impact on them? You know what I'm saying? So I tell you like this, I even cringed at some of the stuff. Like after listening to this stuff, I start to cringe at some of the older stuff. Like, you know,
Yeah, but also you hear yourself evolve.
Yeah,
real time,
yeah,
which I think is good.
It's cool, but like you still like it's kind of like this. You know, you ever wear an outfit and you think it's cool at one point,
Yeah,
and then you look back, you say that
like
outfit
this one I'm wearing right now, Mo. Come on.
And then you say that outfit wasn't as cool as I thought it was.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mo.
That's what I guess that's how I looked at. So like I was like, Reese, don't do that, please. Like no, like get that out. Like I don't know, but we'll go on. My fault.
I think it's time for Q&A for
Yeah,
Butt
man.
Life.
That was good stuff. Butt Life.
All right, everyone, keep on sending us questions at Biz and Biceps on Instagram and Twitter. If we use your question on the air, we'll send out a free t-shirt for you. First question, how do you encourage creativity and unconventional ideas in a team setting? Very often, people will fire off reasons why something won't work instead of asking how it could.
How do you encourage creativity
In a team
In a
setting?
team
setting? You I think you make it very clear if you're leading it that nothing that you put out there is wrong, because creativity it cannot be proved to be right or to be wrong. So I think the first thing you need to do is create comfort. No one's going to be creative if they're worried about judgment. Right? Because, oh, man, I'm fucking wrong. Oh, fuck, I look stupid. Like, if you are setting the table as the leader, you let everybody know there is no bad ideas here. I need your best. And deliver them. And no one, if anyone fucking judges you, if anyone laughs at you, you're out of this, because this is a team. We support each other. And all ideas are good ideas. It doesn't mean we're going to use them. But it's
one of the things you always say, John, is when we were doing the roundtables at Max early
Yeah.
days, you're like, look, we might not use 9 out of the 10 ideas that you say, but no one's going to fucking strike you down because you came up with something trying to help the fucking team.
yeah. How about that one that we do?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, but setting that for younger guys and other people that are intimidated by a figure like John Fosco, letting them know that it's okay, even if we don't use it, but that's how the juices start to get flowing. I think that's important as a leader to voice that, because you might think that they know that, but they probably don't.
Yeah, I don't think I can say anything that's better than past when you talk about just not judging.
All right, Germ.
I was recently hired into a finance director role and am now in charge of hiring finance and accounting employees for our utility company. I don't have much experience hiring, and I was wondering what you guys think are the most important questions to ask in an interview.
Most important questions. In an interview like that, I think it's really important to find out why the person's there, why they're really there, right? So I don't think through a series of questions you want someone who's a paycheck seeker, right? If they're just there to get a check, I think those are people you want to avoid. I think looking for people who talk about the organization that they're interviewing for, they have some knowledge of it. They almost impress you with their knowledge of it, because you're like, fuck, you don't even work here, and you know this, and this. I think you want to look for people that are already going the extra mile, and it's just an interview. That would be my advice.
Mo, you do this all the time.
Yeah, the biggest thing for hiring is energy.
Hmm.
You know, if a person's energy when they first walk in the door, or
You can feel it on them, right, Mo?
I think that pays dividends, or that is everything. Competency. I think I've overlooked this part. You know, I think I was so much into let me look at your resume in comparison to, are you competent on what it is that I'm talking about? You know, and I think that you should have yourself the standards of performance, and based on what you're asking that person to do in their job duties, to ask questions around, you know, John, would you have a problem staying late 3 days out the week? You know, do you typically take a lot of vacations throughout the year? Oh, sorry. Do you typically take a lot of vacations throughout the year?
It's like situational stuff to see how they respond.
So to me, it's only one thing. You have to know the standard of your company and what you're performing to, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what are you trying to get accomplished, and can you execute towards the standard, and can I ask questions derived from whatever the standard is? And I think that what keeps it less personal is, you know, having those agreements in place based on the standard, and does a person perform that well?
Yeah, I can't add to that. That was well said, Mr. Claret.
Treasure box of content. Treasure chest.
Treasure chest.
Third question, as I'm beginning to start an online business, is it beneficial to pay for the service of another individual to guide the development of my brand and set up logistics, or will it be more beneficial to myself in the long run to do it on my own?
Do it on your fucking own. Listen, I think if you pay an individual to do it, you as the founder, owner, driver, whatever operator, you're missing a huge piece if you just pay somebody to do it. Because what happens when that person takes a job in 2 months? What are you don't know how to run your own business because you farmed it out 2 months in. Now, if you want to pay a consultant to come and guide you so you can accrue that set of skills and you can know it and you can be an asset of your business, great. But to just pay somebody immediately, you're cheating yourself and you're cheating your business.
I think you try to figure out as much as possible on your own, and the spots you're super weak at, why not bring a consultant in if you can get to kind of, because they always say you're only as good as like the team around you. You're not going to be good at everything. You're not going to know everything, especially when you're new. I still think you have to have like some self-discovery in your business so you can run it, so it can have some integrity like inside. Like there's something deep in you. They're like, yeah, I figured this out. But when you're hit these walls, I think you got to go out and find the information or people that can help you kind of bust through them.
Yeah, I would third that. You know what I'm saying? But I think just part of the process is knowing yourself once you start going through stuff. And once you hit those walls, being able to grab people, but to run for the hills and run for help before you even get into the fight. It's kind of like ass backwards.
Yeah, correct. All right, time for the main event.
I can't beat him. I can't beat him. Let me run to the hills.
Yeah, that's 2 months in. That's pretty quick. All right, so karma in business and life. You guys, we hear this, right? Everyone hears these kind of terms being thrown around. This guy did that person wrong. That's going to come back and get him. What's your guys' kind of thoughts when you hear just karma, business, life? Is it a real thing? Is it voodoo?
I want
Is it black magic?
I want Mo to start because the box of content had some
He's itching. I think he's got some good stuff.
He's got something in the box of content.
See my foot.
Kick it off, Mo.
So this is in reference to me.
Okay.
Right. So I used to believe in my head that karma wasn't real. I used to think that it was just like a bogus saying that people would, they would talk about. They would say what goes around comes around, everything that you do.
You didn't believe any of it?
No, I didn't believe it. I thought it was hocus pocus, or I thought so I looked at karma as like in a religion box.
Sure.
Or it just wasn't real and it wouldn't affect me. But every time that I was dishonest or that I was manipulative, even to the slightest level, be it with women, be it in business, be it with lying to coaches, I would always come up short, right? Whenever I would just not have integrity in my dealings, or whenever I would cheat workouts, whenever I would cheat my diet, whatever I did, it would always surface when I started to become honest with myself, right? And I wasn't sure that I labeled it karma, but I said, man, whatever you put into something is exactly what you're going to get out, right? And you can't, let me frame this right. You don't dictate the consequences that come your way from doing what you want to do, and you can't time them. You can't say, okay, I did Cory wrong, so this thing that so if I do Cory wrong, it doesn't mean that Cory's going to do something back to me. It could be
It's
John.
going to come somewhere else. Yeah.
It can be somebody else in the same capacity, in the same way that you hurt somebody. That same energy and that same level of disappointment will be returned onto you because you put that onto somebody else, right? And when I started to experience what I was doing in my own life, or I give you a prime example, just the whole the manipulating with the women part, and then the insecurities I would have in my own situation, the seeds that you plant, all that stuff comes back into your life, even down to the smallest thing that you're aware of. And I think karma, whether you're aware or unaware, you're still responsible for your behavior, right? You're still responsible for how you say, what you do. And I think the process is to become more aware and to become more responsible and have more integrity in all of your dealings, all of the time, with anything you come in contact with, getting back to loving people more. And if you sow love, love comes back to you. But if you sow hate, you sow manipulation. Whatever you put in the ground, no difference than what you put in your body. You sow, whatever you sow into.
Weeds and flowers grow the same.
It's the same thing. Whatever you put into anything into this world, it comes back to you. And so a lot of stuff, when I talk about karma, I get it. And it wasn't until, you just start to understand what integrity is. And you don't grasp all of integrity when you're you're 21, 22, you don't know what the hell that means. But as you grow older and as you start to connect your bad outcomes yourself into why it happened, and you could be a little bit more responsible. So to grasp karma, I think takes a personal level of personal accountability to say, I'm responsible for that. And I can see how that swings back to get me. I'll give you a prime example before I pass it on, because I could talk the whole period of time. When I went to jail, I got caught for that crime, but I understood why I was there, right? I was like, this is for all the other stuff that you had done. And this just happened to be everything collected, everything accumulated, all of the energy that you put into the world, because the universe understands what you do. To hell with people, the world, the universe that we live in understands the energy, the thoughts, the vibration that you put out into the world, and everything that you give, boom, will come right back to you. You don't get a chance to time it. You don't get a chance to avoid it. You get none of that.
You'll never know when it's coming.
You don't. But I don't know. I'll pass it off and now just kind of play off of what you all say, but I don't want to go too long.
The first thing I thought of when you said karma was, has everybody here seen Taken?
Yeah.
The movie Taken? It's a classic action
Liam
movie.
Neeson, right?
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Liam Neeson is...
That's the bald head dude?
No, he's like a 60-year-old Scottish dude.
Who said he never played an action hero
all
before.
Of a sudden, yeah. But it's probably...
It's awesome.
One of the best action movies in the last 10 years, easily. Either way, he's a relentless father who had something done wrong to his daughter, and he's relentless. Only in a Hollywood movie could anyone be this relentless. But for those of our listeners who know that movie, and a lot of people know that movie was a fucking huge hit, Liam Neeson, to me, in that movie represents karma. That's what karma is.
Yeah.
This relentless force that it doesn't matter when or where, but it has a particular set of skills that will fucking find a way
to come back.
To come back to you.
And kill your ass.
I can honestly say that I knew karma was real when, similar to you, I started being dishonest with women and girls and cheating and stuff like that. It would be wild how... I think I have a tactical mind, right? I think I'm fairly strategic. It would be wild how the world would outsmart me. just like, hey,
straight up,
this is easy. I'm in a different fucking area code, blah, 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 blah. My different phone, but
bang.
Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't fucking matter. And the same goes for how you talk to people, how you treat people. It does connect with Mo's segment earlier, right? You could put out this shit energy that comes back and hunts you down, or you could put out love, and love I think has karma in its own way, but it's a good karma because it comes right back to you. So karma is ever present. If you don't believe in it, you're going to get fucking hit so hard and you're going to get tossed off a fucking balcony and your head's going to get fucking split open, not literally, but figuratively, because it is ruthless and it is guaranteed. I want people to understand, if you do someone wrong, if you lie to them, if you cheat them, if you cheat on them, if you just manipulate them, there is no way you may think you can get away with it that day with that individual at that time. And guess what? You can. But you will never get away with the act without the world, the universe punishing you. And a lot of times, like Mo said, it comes through the form of other people.
100%. I'll say this. Even when you talked about women, I'll pass to you after this. I think a lot of my insecurities with women were birthed out of bad karma. Me lying, me manipulating. And then I think as a penalty, I've built, or I inherently had trust issues. And so the inability to trust other people came from my direct dishonesty with women. And then the cycle of I'm being repaid on how not to trust people, but it's not until you begin to be honest and to have a clear conscience and to deal with people that you can get those insecurities lifted off you. And so that was something personal that even now we still have to have that balance in making sure you stay in that thing. But I can directly tell my disinterest in wanting to get close to people because my trust issues came from me lying, manipulating women. And that, and I'm just saying that for the listener, so I think when you insecure, you start to say, like, man, where does this come from? And it's a direct contradiction to be tough and to be insecure. You know what I'm saying? And because you know what I'm saying, but when it comes to women, because in women, you have to give more of yourself and it's vulnerable because they can hurt you. And so a lot of that stuff comes from, the manipulation comes from not wanting to be hurt. And
it's like a defense.
100%. It's a defense mechanism but you create all of the.
But you're a big tough guy, so why would it matter?
So, bro, this.
I know, but that's what I'm uncovering.
Do you know how many people can probably identify with this in their head? And so it goes back to not wanting to be loved or not wanting to give you love to be hurt. You know
That's why so many people, men or women, they feel controlled by either the female or the male. It's because that person is so insecure that they need to push their insecurities on other people. And I'll tell you, being just like you in that manner, when you're like that, it's because you're up to some shit, right? It's because you're up to some shit. It ain't because they're up to some shit. It's because you're thinking they roll like you roll. Because no, man. And I could say that is really that has been karma for me in life. You know, Cory brought this up. How you said Arnold wrote or something famous or whatever that he treated women like objects.
Yeah,
and he
it's
processed
well documented.
So it's well done. So
it just is.
I want to be honest. That's how, when you said that to me, I really tried to look inward.
I heard the way you were talking, and I was like, this is exactly what I read.
And it made me a little bit sad because
I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings, John.
No, because it's me looking at my life, looking at myself, saying I look at women as objects. I really don't process them as people.
Yeah. That's literally what he wrote in I forget which book it was, but he wrote that was like a major problem and why he continued to have problems with females all the way until when he
couldn't process them as human beings.
It's like because in the 70s at that time when it was very objective, or they were objects to him, basically, is what he said. But that's hard to be that honest. Nope. I mean, for you to say, but that's how he was attempting to get past it.
What I'm talking about, did he ever like close the gap on the back end?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think, it seems like he does now. But I mean, what I wanted to flip it to is one of the things that kind of became really apparent or, showed its face to me really early with exercise and helping people was the karma of, all right, if I can help this person, love them essentially, because when you help build somebody's confidence, it really is a form of love and helping them feel better about themselves. Mm-hmm. And I started to see where I didn't know there was nothing monetary coming back in the early days, not even close, right? But I got fulfilled from what it would make me feel like, because I knew what it made me feel like when I found it, right? And then I'm taking my gift and I'm essentially loving family, friends, or anybody who would listen at that point in time that wanted help.
We're talking about what you can turn them into.
Yeah, what my information and passion and excitement and enthusiasm, back to Carnegie stuff, could, push them to, right? And then as the internet age and things started to get busy, I just continued that same approach. And I always thought to myself, if I can help these people with what I'm gifted or what I've learned or what I've done, I can essentially love somebody with zero attachment. I can't tell if they ever buy my product. I can't tell if they ever buy. I can if I really, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know when I'm helping them, if they'll ever support anything, if they'll listen here, if they'll do, I can't, there's no attachment really, because it's just the internet. You don't know where the fuck they live, if it's their real name, whatever. But I take the same approach of answering, directing, and things with the hope that maybe they'll support what I'm about. But at the end of the day, I really can't even determine that. So I got into this process of from inside the gym and outside the gym to do those things with the gift I think that I'm here to do. And I got to say that it's only continued to go the right direction. That's why I've always done it, because it, one, has a feeling that has been, I can't even explain. It's just daily I get to do this, right? Which is what
the reward.
Yeah, the reward's unbelievable because when somebody, it never gets old. You guys see it here with the podcast when people hit us up and be like, one, we throw this info out to the world. It changes or helps people in a way we can't determine. As many people that text us or message us, there's a bunch of people that don't, that feel the same way.
I guarantee they do.
Or more, right?
Way more.
Way more. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Way
So it's
more.
like, it's one of those things. And so I've been experiencing this type of interaction with a large amount of people for probably like a decade plus. And it's like these other people that I've ran into with deceit, lie, short term, and it's not real. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. It never works out for them long term. And people keep wondering why.
The karmic response you're talking about.
Correct. Why it continues, I believe, to work out for a person like myself is because that same thing that I helped literally with my high school friends, it's literally never changed. It's just grown because I believe it's thrown out love and it comes back, but you never know when, how often, but you can't determine that. I just know if I keep putting it out.
Everything you sow.
And anything that I ever thought about doing that was twisted up, that I knew was wrong, because so many good things I've been blessed has happened well. I would always think, dude, if you do this, you know what's going to happen.
You know the response.
You know what time it is. My famous line, my kids are tired to listen to. You know what time it is. It's not. You can't escape it. And that's literally how I process it.
You've had so many positive interactions and so much positive stuff from what you've
astronomical.
done. So I'm trying to get something off. Is it the energy you feel on the front side of the thought?
Absolutely.
And I guess that's
it's
the
like
same thing.
it's literally like an oxygen to just how I operate. It's always been that way. And I can't explain it other than that.
Like this.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes.
And then when I see it rolling, I'm like, well, I like doing this. It's helping people. I'm going to spend, and I told this to Rachel the other day. I was like, I find myself, other than people I work with, spending way more time with people I don't know, will never meet, and have interactions with them that I know can help them immediately than people I've known for a really long time. Like, I'll dodge their calls to help somebody on Instagram that I know really might put it in place because they're in a spot that they really are asking for
and
help.
they can receive it, yeah.
It's interesting.
No, I was talking to my brother, which we don't do, but when we do talk to each other, we talk for like an hour, and I was just talking to him about little switch from karma, but I think it's of value to the listener. I was talking about identifying when your life has changed, you know what I'm saying, and who you're interacting with it and how you're interacting with them, you know what I'm saying, and having checks and balances on, who you choose to give your time to. And as you said that, what it made me think of was that, you might have been flowing and going for so many years and people close to you probably didn't connect on it, or they probably, or they don't act on it. You can give somebody great information who's right next to you and they just don't view you in a light that another person, a stranger has esteem for you.
Mhm.
Oh, that's John. Oh,
Right.
I know who he is. You know, and if he says something,
It's just like when your dad says something to you or your coach says something to you, you
goes
take
over
it
your
different,
head.
right?
Yeah. But that's not even a bad thing. Even the listeners, man. I think there's a wrong concept that we have, like this whole, stay around people you know all the time. Don't discover new people. Don't discover new environments. That whole concept that like cult,
Yeah.
like
like you're selling out from your neighborhood or from
Yes.
where you're from. It's some bullshit, bro.
Yes, and I think that's part of like just keeping so much stuff on your head, on your perspective, your potential, and who you can, I guess, attempt to be. And I just look like out there, even the corner of my eye, I'm just thinking to myself, like, just look how many walks or different walks of life that's in this room right now. You know what I'm saying? And what you get like a different view just on the world and everything. And I think that's like one of the greatest things that like probably can happen in my life. Even being gone for those few weeks, I can tell like the I don't know, like kind of like you miss your friends sort of deal.
Hell
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But
I was fired up.
but everything comes back into a pot, so to speak, and having the ability to socialize with people who don't normally, that you probably wouldn't even normally cross. Like most people play with their sporting teams, their neighborhood, their people at their job to some degree. But to have this, I think is special. I don't know.
I couldn't agree more, and I don't know why this is coming to my head, but it's just like
We haven't been together in a while.
yeah. But when you look at like the mission of life, I would argue this with anyone. The number one objective, in my opinion, is self-discovery, and it never stops. And I think a lot of people don't know how to conduct that process of self-discovery. I think they may hear those words right now and say, "Oh yeah, that sounds like," but they're like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Like, what's the follow-up step?
Yeah. How the fuck do I follow up to really dig into myself? And
How would you explain for them to do that, Johnny?
I would explain. It's almost like the same way I would explain diagnostics with a doctor or breaking down a business. It's being comfortable and embracing the fact that growth only comes from looking at weakness, accepting it, and saying, I want to be better. It doesn't come from looking at strength and say like, oh, I'm just going to keep showing this off so people can feel my strength, my power. It comes from really breaking yourself down. Like, dude, you're just another person. And bro, if you don't fix that, you are limiting what you could be in life. We could all think we're hot shit. Oh, I drive this car. I got this. Fuck that bullshit. Like the most people who are way advanced mentally, financially, way beyond us. Like the ones who are always winning in the form of joy and happiness and bringing more into their life are the people who understand that like every day is a day to get better. And that's not just a saying to like work harder or do more in the gym.
Keep grinding.
It's right, exactly. It's to fucking take that fucking spoon and use your mind like it's a goddamn pumpkin and fucking dig in that bitch and go deal with the hard stuff. Because if you're not trying to discover yourself, you're just going through the motions. Even if you're making money, even if you're successful, what's it for? You gotta find out who the fuck you are, free of everybody else.
Hey, that's a great clip. Hey, you should take that.
Yeah.
Put that on
I think we
live.
should wrap it up there. That was fucking good, Johnny.
Okay, there we go.
That was good.
I gotta get him back next episode.
Oh, hey, it's brought to you by Square. What a monster to have as a sponsor.
Square is Square is not only a monster to have as a sponsor, but they're so involved in what we talk about all the time in business, in the business world, from payment processing to POS, point of sale systems, to lending businesses money. They're just innovating nonstop on how to assist business and businesses do business in a more efficient way.
And they also have a Square online store that you must check out at square.com, because e-commerce is running the world right now, and why not have a trusted person or company like Square handle your e-commerce at the Square online store at square.com. Maurice Claret.
Yes.
Johnny Fosco. Can the podcast be stopped? The podcast can't be stopped.